What's up guys? In this video we're gonna have a look at Germany's top 20 biggest city and we're gonna rate them on how good they are. So I'm actually big time into cities. I like the city life way better than the rural life in the villages. And it kind of became a big hobby of mine to look at different cities, to compare the quality of life, the cost of living, the climates and all that comes with it to figure out what is the best city on the planet. I'm still on the search for that. But yeah, in this video, we're just gonna look at Germany's top 20 biggest cities according to population, and we're gonna rank them right now. So I got my tier maker open here, and if you're not familiar with it, there are basically 5 different levels. S tier is the highest, the best tier. These are like gamer terms. Then A tier, very good still. B tier, somewhere in the middle. C, not as good. And D is basically the worst tier. And we're gonna move all these 20 cities here, and we're starting with Hanover. And I just picked Hanover because I think Hanover is the perfect starting point, because it's a city that I lived in for a little bit, and I think we're gonna move this right here into B tier. I always said about Hanover, there's nothing wrong with the city. The city has everything that you need, from shops to decent people to sport opportunities, clubs and all that stuff. But there's also nothing too exciting about the city. There are no big sites. It's not of big importance on the global scale, whatever. You get the idea. I think Hanover is a solid B tier, and we're gonna compare the next cities according to that. All right, next we're gonna do Münster. And Münster is a city I haven't been to. And if I haven't been to the city, I'm just gonna rate it according to what I heard about the city. So this is all obviously super subjective from my point of view. I know a lot of cities, not all of them though. Haven't been to Münster. I only hear very good things about Münster. It's a huge student city, like let me actually check that, 316,000 population. So it's a good sized city, a lot of students, it's supposed to be very nice. It's close to the Dutch border. From what I'm hearing, I would give Münster an A. A tier for Münster. Then Bonn. Bonn also I'm not super familiar with. I passed through a couple of times. I think I had a training when I was working there in Bonn for like one overnight, and I just walked around in the neighborhood a little bit. It's one of these cities some people really like. I think the big advantage is it's on the River Rhine, right there with Cologne and other cities. And I really haven't heard much about Bonn. Until the reunification of Germany and Eastern Germany, Bonn was our capital actually in Germany. Now it's obviously Berlin. I have no idea about Bonn. I'm just gonna put it in B tier. Let me know if you agree with that or not. Next city is Bielefeld. Bielefeld, there's a running gag about Bielefeld. Bielefeld doesn't really exist. And I think that running gag comes from there's nothing happening there. Not much exciting about Bielefeld. Probably not much wrong with it either. I haven't been personally. I hear fairly underwhelming things about Bielefeld. Let me check my list here. Also 330,000 population. That's not too bad. However, from what I hear, Bielefeld C tier. Not the best city in Germany. And the same kind of goes for Wuppertal. Wuppertal actually has a very bad reputation. Another city I haven't been to, but from what I'm hearing, the most exciting thing that Wuppertal has, and the only thing that I always see, is that flying train thing. It's like a hanging train and it goes over a river and it's like public transportation. That's what I know about Wuppertal. That's it. It has also a reputation to be pretty ugly and like back in the day workers' town. So from what I'm hearing, Wuppertal on the bottom end. So I'm going to put that into D tier. Again, I want to hear your opinions afterwards if you agree with these, if you're from these cities, and if they're actually as bad or not. Leipzig next. One city I'm way more familiar with. I've been there multiple times. We made a whole video about it. I think from the eastern cities, Leipzig might be my favorite. I actually like Leipzig. Oh my God, it's getting tongue breaker here. I like Leipzig a little bit better than Dresden, I think. It's an up-and-coming city. They say it might be the next Berlin because Berlin is getting so expensive and Leipzig is still a very affordable city. I spent the last couple of years looking at rental prices in each city. If anybody is looking for information about that, ask me. I feel like I'm, at this point, one of the leading experts of freaking rental prices in all the German cities. Anyway, I'm digressing here. I think Leipzig is a good city. It's a little similar to Hanover. I think it's a little younger feeling, a little more up and coming feeling. I'm not sure. I would put it A or B tier, somewhere in between. I might want to put that in A tier. To me, it's a little bit more exciting than Hanover is. So Leipzig, A tier. Next we have Bochum. Bochum in the heart of the Ruhrpott. I've spent a couple of nights in Bochum. One of my friends lived there when we were still studying. So I went there for partying a lot. Also went for a concert once. I don't remember that much. You know how it is, you party too much and I don't remember that much. But from what I'm seeing, the city itself, not too beautiful. A lot of people say concrete jungle. Not much going on in terms of famous things like international popularity. For partying, always quite nice, that's okay. So I would say Bochum C tier. Not that bad, but not that good either. All right, next one, Duisburg. Duisburg is always in the run in these articles for the worst city in Germany. The ugliest city in Germany, the nothing's going on city in Germany. I haven't been, so I can't rate on that. But that's all I hear about Duisburg. It's the worst place in Germany. Avoid it. That's what they say, these articles. I wonder if people are from Duisburg or have you been. Is it really that bad? But from what I'm hearing, solid D tier. All right, then next, Nuremberg. Nuremberg in German, Nuremberg in English. Very historic city. I actually like Nuremberg quite a bit. Like they have these huge walls around the city center, which gives us the most castle flair of all these cities. It also has a decent mix of people, a lot of opportunities for restaurants and to do stuff. I also think the location is pretty good there in North Bavaria. It's funny, we made a video about Nuremberg and people get so offended. It's Franconia, Franken, not Bavaria. But now Franconia is a part of Bavaria, but whatever. Yeah, I like it. Good size too. Population of 500,000. I would put Nuremberg actually, yeah, above Hanover too. That would be another A tier city for me. All right, next we have Bremen. Bremen, northern city. And I have to be honest, I'm a little biased against these northern cities because I'm like right from the center, Göttingen areas where I grew up, and nothing ever drew me up there. Further north, I mean, it's gray and windy enough here, and everything that's further north, in my head, it's just more windy, more rough living there, and it's not very appealing to me. However, I visited Bremen a couple of times. It's actually a decent city. Like, it's nice. It has a bit of that typical German mid-size problem. You have everything you need, pretty good quality of life. But if you're looking for a little bit of special, something extra, a little bit special, something exciting, something super beautiful, that's just not there. It's just very, very standard old German city. And I think that goes right in there in B tier with Hanover and Bonn. Hanover, Bonn, Bremen, the B tier. All right, then we have Dortmund. It's actually, I think, the biggest city of the Ruhrpott. 590,000 population, something about that. Dortmund, we visited, we contemplated moving there, maybe because Dortmund is still a city that is, I think, better than its reputation from what I've seen. And it's very affordable still. If you look at the rental prices, the consumer prices, the Ruhrpott, Essen, Bochum, Bielefeld, Dortmund, they're still way cheaper than some of the big cities. So I would say Dortmund, it's hard. It's like between B and A tier. If I give Leipzig and Nuremberg an A tier, I kind of want to give Dortmund a B tier. Yeah, I think B tier. B tier is good for Dortmund if you look for like big-ish city flair, but affordable rental prices and cost of living in general. Dortmund is a good place. What's not a good place for that is Frankfurt, one of the more expensive cities, one of the most expensive cities in Germany. I lived in Frankfurt too, and Frankfurt has very different faces. When I lived there, I really liked it. It wasn't a time where I really liked to go out. Frankfurt is an absolute career city. The city itself has 760,000, like a population of that. And during the day, I think it swells up to like 1.5 million or something like that, because so many commuters from the area come to Frankfurt to work. Frankfurt is the absolute suit city, the career city, the banking city of Germany. A lot of high-end jobs in Frankfurt, a lot of high-end salaries in Frankfurt, which makes the city more expensive. Apartment market, it's fairly bad. It's not as bad as Munich or Berlin, I would say, but it's pretty bad. I really liked it when I lived there. The going out culture, it was awesome. There was a lot of partying. I liked the skyscrapers. It's the only German city with a skyline. Like, it's a fairly pathetic skyline if you look at something like New York or Shanghai. But it is a skyline. We have a skyline and it's in Frankfurt. I'm not sure. I would say Frankfurt is a solid A tier. It's also always very high on these quality of life lists, like the big study by Mercer is once a year, and they compare quality of life. It has very good public transportation, the infrastructure is good, a lot of opportunities. Also has a very ugly side, I think. There's drug problems, prostitution, a lot in Frankfurt. So it has different sides, and I think it makes Frankfurt a little more exciting, a little more special, because it's crazier. It's on one hand, it's dirty on the other hand. A lot of my friends actually started working in Frankfurt a couple of years and then moved on. That's also very notorious for that city. I think A tier is a good one for that. All right, next one, Dresden. Dresden I visited multiple times on work trips. Dresden has a very beautiful inner city, old town. They have old, cool looking buildings. However, Dresden, over the last couple of years, got a little bit of a bad reputation for being like the epicenter of the right-wing movement in Germany. And all that shows in the elections they do there. The right-wing parties get pretty big chunks of the voters in Dresden, but also in Leipzig. And a lot of people love Dresden. I actually prefer Leipzig. I like the more modern, more up-and-coming flair of Leipzig compared to Dresden. And I ranked Leipzig an A tier, so Dresden should be somewhere between A and B, but for now I'm gonna give it a B tier. But very quick car ride to one of the best cities in the world, Prague, which is not on this list obviously, but Czech Republic right there, Prague. I think it's 1 or 2 hour car ride, and that's one good thing about Dresden, the closeness to Prague. And then we have Düsseldorf. Düsseldorf is a little bit under the radar still. I think quality of life-wise, it's one of the highest cities in Germany. It's north of Cologne on the River Rhine. It's a good size, 620,000 people there. It's on the water. It has a decent job market. It has very shiny areas. I get a little bit of a pretentious feeling about Düsseldorf. A lot of people with a lot of money there, and they like to show it off. But the quality of life is super high. And I think the rental market is still kind of affordable. I was surprised in our researches to find out that Düsseldorf is cheaper than Cologne, for example, cheaper than Frankfurt, but it has a lot of the quirks and quality of life. Very good city to live in, and I would definitely put this into A tier with Frankfurt. And yeah, maybe in the end I'm gonna do some little adjustments here, but we'll see. All right, next we have Essen. Essen translates to food. But it's also a city. It's called Essen, one of the cities in the pot. It's a little bit of a mixed bag. It sounds very similar to Bochum or Duisburg. You don't hear too many good things about it. I think the reputation is definitely better than the one in Wuppertal or Duisburg. So Essen, I haven't been. That's why I just have to rank it as C tier from just what I'm hearing. That's about it. All right, we have a couple of heavy hitters left. Maybe we do this according by size, from the smallest to the biggest. The next one would be Stuttgart. Stuttgart is the home of Mercedes-Benz, and I feel like most people who studied and live in Stuttgart to work, at least everybody I know, is working for Mercedes-Benz. It's the city known for that, and I think it's slightly overrated. Like, I've been there a couple of times, one time for another training from work, like 2 overnights, and I just walked around the city in the afternoon and evening. I like that it's in a hilly environment. I don't like when cities are too flat, but aside from that, and aside from the fact that they have Mercedes-Benz, there was nothing that struck me as super amazing. It's pretty expensive because of the companies that are in the area, like rentals and everything is pretty expensive. So I want to say Stuttgart, I only give a B tier. Maybe some people don't agree with that. I think a lot of people love that area and that city. I don't really, so B tier for Stuttgart there. All right, and then the 4 last cities are the ones with more than 1 million population, and the smallest one being Cologne, in German Köln, with like 1.1 million. It's an okay city, it's nice, it's also on the river. It's actually on both sides of the river, connected by several bridges. They have the famous Cathedral of Cologne. That is like the biggest church in the world. Not the highest, but it is the biggest. Aside from that, Cologne is known for their LGBT culture. There's a lot of gay jokes about people from Cologne. I think nowadays that's more of a positive thing than a negative thing. So I think Cologne, that's why I picture Cologne in my mind as very open-minded city. and there's a lot of opportunities there. It has a lot of media in Germany, like a lot of TV production and stuff happens in Cologne too. I think it's a fairly cool city. I think it has to be A tier. Cologne, A tier as well, definitely up there with other cities. I'm looking at this A tier and I think I have to move Leipzig to B tier. I'm sorry, Leipzig, but it's just not on the level of Cologne, Düsseldorf, Frankfurt, Nuremberg, Münster. Münster I haven't been, so I don't know. Nuremberg also maybe a little high. I would give that like a B tier. Actually, no, I moved that to B tier as well. Sorry. Nuremberg and Leipzig, you've just been demoted to B tier. You can't just hang with those. The third biggest city in Germany is the loved and hated Munich. And Munich is a special case. I lived in Munich for a little bit and I really enjoyed living there. I always said there were three things that bothered me. One was the rental prices, and Munich is by far the most expensive city in Germany when it comes to renting an apartment. It's just way too much. The market is ridiculous. Second thing that I always said that bothered me a bit were the people. I don't know if that's partly projected, it probably is, but Munich has a reputation that the people are a little bit pretentious too, a little bit full of themselves. They think like they're the elite of Germany, like they're the best of Germany. But at the same time, they're a little more conservative than other places in Germany. And I think those two things, I don't know. It's very traditional, it's an old city, but I have to admit, the city itself is freaking beautiful. The location is amazing, less than an hour to the mountains, to the Alps, skiing and stuff in range. It's so green, the English Garden in Munich is awesome. As much as I like to crap on Munich, I have to give Munich an S tier. If you can afford it, if you can find friends, it is one of the best cities in Germany to live in. Always, of course, depending on what you're looking for. But yeah, there's a little bit of envy always in there, but I have to give it an S tier. It has ups and downs. Right now, it's not for me, but it's pretty good. Then we have Hamburg. Hamburg is a city I'm also just a little bit familiar with. We went last year for a couple of days, made a video as well, and I really liked it. That Speicherstadt, this harbor city, looks so good. Visually, it is probably the best, most special place in Germany. You're on the water, it's just very windy always. It feels very windy and gray to me. It's a little more rougher living, that's what I picture. Although let's be honest, the climate doesn't change that much. But Hamburg, I want to say it's an A tier. And I think a lot of people from Hamburg, and for a lot of Germans in general, Hamburg is the best city to live in. And they say it's the most beautiful city in Germany. And I think on a good weather day, it might be the most beautiful city in Germany. However, in general, I don't like Hamburg as much as Munich or so. And I want to be fair though, I think A tier is good. Let me know what your favorite city is. But yeah, Hamburg for me is not S tier, it's A tier. And that leaves us with the capital and by far the biggest city in Germany, Berlin, with a population of 3.6 million. I think Berlin is almost Germany's only city that is world renowned, like popular around the world. There's so much history there. A lot of things happened in the past, mainly bad things for that it's known. It was divided, the whole city was divided till 89 or 90. It's very special. I think Berlin has something for everyone. I know a lot of people, it's almost like a half-half, like New York City in America. Half the people hate Berlin and say it's a dirt hole and I will never go there. I would never want to live there. The other half of the people just says, I really, really love Berlin. It has the most options for foodies, for sports, for crazy stuff, all these artsy culture coming up. And love it or hate it, I think Berlin has something for everyone. And I really like that about a city. It's such a good mix. So I have to give that an S tier as well. But yeah, that's my list. I don't know if you agree. Let me see if we want to change something here. So Munich, Berlin, S tier, I think. Very different cities, but they both deserve the top spots. Then we have Münster, I haven't been to. Frankfurt, Düsseldorf, Cologne, Hamburg, A tier. I think that seems about right. Dresden, Hanover, Bonn, Bremen, Dortmund, Leipzig, Nuremberg, Stuttgart, B tier. Yeah, those are good cities in the middle. Bielefeld, Bochum, Essen, really cities that I'm not that familiar with, just from what I'm hearing. And Wuppertal, Duisburg, also what I'm hearing. Very bad. Let me know where you're from, if you agree with these, how you would change it, and please don't kill me. in the comments.